Hello everyone! Welcome back to this game. When we last left off, we kind of had a bit of a standalone episode. We entered a dungeon, we beat the boss, we moved on. Episodes like that are going to be at a premium during this epic adventure. So it's going to be nice whenever more simple things happen. Now then, we have arrived at this place called Meadows. Let's see what we can find here. Or more importantly, who? Now we have Star Maiden Kekule? Kekule? Or Kekule? Sir Farmer Blight has been both looking and acting under the weather these past few days. I do hope the dear old man isn't coming down with an illness in his old age. Oh, he's come down all right. Oh, newcomers to Meadows yet? Yes? If you become in need of medicinal treatment from your journey here, then surely you will be obliged by the graceful ministrations of the charming Madame Tasera, a nurse from the urban elven lands who has taken temporary residence here. You should find her just across the bridge right now, if you wish to meet with her. In a bit. And now we have a voluptuous young elf maid who unfortunately is hiding her beautiful body under modest clothes. Yeah, it is definitely Sarah's right who wrote that. Salutations, travelers. We are pleased that you would come visit such an out-of-the-way village as Meadows. We elves of the forest are rather behind on the times, I'm afraid. Our lives are of the simplest structure, as you can see. Come to think of it, all of the places in Alvenia that we've been to so far really do seem to be like those in a fantasy or something. Don't you think so? And just learning of the existence of elves alone... That would actually be kind of interesting now that I think about it. Meeting actual elves. Granted, look at me. I'm an actual half-breed dragon. I'd imagine that I am a very interesting person to meet. Fizban the Cleric. Be careful of the bridge if you are going east, kids. Please consider purchasing some medicine in case you run into trouble out there on the road, okay? Okay. So we got dew clovers. Oh, that's the MP thing. I'll buy 5. Let me check what else there is, actually. Angel Feather. Let me buy one of those. Antidote, ammonia, cure confuse, alarm, cure sleep, aloe vera, cures petrify? Am I going to have to worry about that now? I'm going to worry about that now. Buy 2 of them. Throat spray... I'll buy 1. That doesn't leave me very much for more dew clovers. I can buy 3 of those. It leaves me 36 gold. What else might I want to buy? What concerns me the most? Well, out of everything, definitely being turned to stone. For some people, being turned to stone is a fantasy. And I suppose it would be pretty interesting as long as you still withheld confidence. Or let me try that again. As long as you still held consciousness. However, I'd imagine it would get boring after a point. Let us read your sign real quick. Oh, you're a shop. Cool. Oh, come to think of it, I have an extra elven bow now. I could probably go ahead and sell it. We got a broadsword. Heavy sword not recommended for smaller hands. Generic second weapon. Also got rabbit foot. Small commonly used charm for slightly raising luck. And a small shield. Shield for nice and training, lens for shield, wood buckler, light shield for minimal defense, Aryan dusks for shield. Not really interested in the shield. First things first, you have conversation. I don't know why I didn't think you would have conversation. Let's try that again. You are Elven Swordsmith Aranosha. Welcome, humans. It is becoming rather dangerous these days to journey too far east with, even in Laelia. which was always said to be the most peaceful of the four kingdoms of Sylvania, long ago in the happier times before shadows of evil began to fall over the lands. But fear not, should you happen to be going eastward. I happen to be capable of making swords of a quality that is on par with that of the dwarves. Yeah, we'll see about that when we reach the Dwarven village. I do not know where the Dwarven village is. So the broadsword is probably pretty good. Who can equip it? Anybody can equip it. Attack of 11, that is definitely stronger than any weapon I have. The problem is I don't think I can afford it. Not unless I'm willing to, first off, sell that, but also sell this D sword, which would be kind of handy for bosses, as opposed to the bow and arrow. That still does not afford me the broadsword, though. I need 10 more gold. What could I possibly... How much are these worth? Let's do that. Sell a few of those, because I haven't used any of those yet. And that allows me to buy the broadsword. And who do I want to give it to? We'll find out how this conversation ends. Be careful out there, kids. If danger comes, do not hesitate to use those swords I just sold to you. Yes, all one of those swords. Not that Lantis or Tasera's knight would have had any way of knowing whether I even bought anything. So in regards to attack... would definitely be useful for Lyn. Get his attack higher. Maybe I'll go with that. In fact, this means I could also sell his shuriken, because that's exclusive to him. That doesn't allow me enough to actually buy anything else, so not that that's a big deal. By the way, it is so nice that in RPG Maker 1, all you have to do is mash on the D-pad and you can quickly scroll by repeat conversations. Now, who do I want to talk to next? I think one of you is important. So we got a well-dressed man with a sword. Good day, travelers. How may I be of service? That depends. Are you presently traveling in the company of a certain pretty young elven female with extremely large eyes that sparkle with subtle mischievousness and wears a rose in her beautiful golden hair, and is said to possess both the compassionate heart and healing skills that even angels may lack? Oh, for the love of... groan. The long-haired elven girl standing next to the well-dressed man blushes and suddenly hides her face. I should have talked to the girl first. Oh, you must be speaking of Miss Tasera Allegra, the most beautiful herbalist to grace all of the Lalian continent, and the kind of nurse that men would gladly lose their right arms in battle just to be given a reason to seek treatment from. That sounds way more painful than it would be worth, but clearly I am not one of the men that you speak of. Well, look no further, my friend, for she stands next to me at this very moment. Mr. Beardless, please! That's enough of the glowing flattery. Beardless says with a loud laugh, Forgive my partner, sirs. She is, shall we say, a devout believer in the doctrine of modesty. That is simply what gives Madame Tasera her unique, endearing charm, though, nay? Yay. So this is Tasera, huh? I'm gonna write down her name real quick. Tasera who I'm pretty sure is Sam's actual sister. You seem to be a fond respecter of women's virtues, sir. If I admit to having fallen prey to your words of flattery, then could we kindly skip any remaining formalities and continue on with whatever business you wish for me to conduct with you, pretty please? Good afternoon, sirs. I am Tasera Allegra, Elven Cleric and Master of the Botanical Sciences, at your service. You know, the fact that all these characters have last names makes me wonder if any characters are going to be sharing first names. That is something you never really see in RPGs. And I am William Dusk Langston, a now bewitched swordsman of the Northern Longblade Arts, at your service, my dear woman. Hee hee. Well, Mr. Dusk, how might I be of service to you? Ahem. Dusk, before you can prolong this more than necessary with one more of your stupid mundane lines, I will now step in and proceed with business from here. Nice to meet you. Tasera, was it? I am Lynn Cadence, and this... is Uri Isley, who doesn't seem to be quite here with us at the moment, yet. You see, we were traveling to a continent we've never before visited, Sebuline Reef, on a journey of some pressing urgence, when we ran into a bit of trouble with the local monster populace on the roads that led us here. Therefore, would you be so kind as to take the time to examine our injuries and therefore tell us what type of medicinal herbs we might require to take care of them? These injuries do seem to be in fairly critical need of healing. However, I believe that I possess the required medicine for treating deep claw wounds from the bad kitty monsters after all. Were they actually called bad kitties? I was not paying attention to that at all. But now that I think about it, I think they were. Shoot, I wish I had noticed that before. If being treated by such a pretty elven girl with large, mischievously sparkling eyes would not make any of you three too squeamish, I will be happy to not only provide you with the proper means of healing, but to dress your wounds for you myself as well. I am just glad that you all somehow managed to avoid getting yourselves lost or killed out there, as many violent animals as there have been... Okay, yes. As many as there have been roaming the lands around here these last few months. Thanks. We appreciate your kindness. Sir Beardless, if you would please assist me in the procedure, I shall now perform on our new friends here. There! All done. Heart. Beardless was correct in his earlier assumption about you, Miss Tasera. I would gladly run right back into the forest and blindly charge into an entire army of razor-fanged monsters, unarmed, just in the bleak hope of living long enough to be treated by the most enchanting elf lass in all of Laelia, who has now become my favorite nurse. Okay, I gotta ask the writer of this game, Sarah's Knight. Would you really... Teehee. Oh, stop it. Anyway, you three mentioned that you were traveling to Sebuline Reef, correct? As strangers from an entirely separate world from Elvenia, as you say, human though your race may be, I imagine that your unfamiliarity with any of these lands only heightens the difficulty in safely making it across the South Ocean, much less avoid getting lost along the way. In that case, I am certain that my dear friend Sir Beardless Rune will be able to provide a solution to your slight predicament. You know, I should probably also write your name down, shouldn't I? Beardless. Guy with harp and feather in cap. Speaking of feathers, there was something I should have mentioned a little while ago, but the opportunity has passed, so I will mention it again when it comes up again, because it will. He has traveled nearly everywhere in the world, you see, and he can provide you with much wisdom on all four of Elvenia's kingdoms as such. Forgive us, Mr. Beardless. Beardless Rune. The most prominent weapons merchant along the entire dwarf race. Oh, you're a dwarf. Let me make note of that as well. Beardless, dwarf, with harp and feathering cap. And I am also at your service. Dwarf? They exist in this world too, like the elves? It seems as though you really do have a lot to learn about Elvenia. I take it then that neither pointy-eared nor vertically challenged bearded people were ever heard of back on this other world that you say you came from. Are you supposed to have a beard? Should I make a note of that as well? It would be really nice if RPG Maker 1 allowed for more than 9 custom sprites. Games like this could really benefit from that. Okay, so Tasera is laughing. Mr. Beardless, you almost make it sound as though dwarves and elves in this world differ so greatly that they are taught to have a natural disdain for each other. Well, there you have it. While we coexist with each other peacefully enough, I must say that Miss Tasera and I would not normally be thrown together like this, except under rather seldom circumstances. A weapons dealer and a clerical merchant agreeing to become partners. Oh, that's what you mean. We make quite an odd pair, don't we? At least while our respective choices of profession must condemn us both to remain somewhat stuck here in this region of the Eulalia Kingdom, correct, my friend? If I might ask, what is it exactly that keeps you here, Tasera? Aren't you obligated to always be out on the road like Beardless seems to be? Hehe. Well, I suppose you could say that my services are to some extent in demand among most of the communities in Laelia, yet I am afraid that the roads leading to any direction out of the Meadows region are very unsafe to normal civilians such as myself as of now, what with all of those wild animals and members of an unknown but hostile bunch whom the elves can only call the Demon Army roaming about. Nobody can seem to tell what kingdom in Elvenia, if any at all, that these demon warriors have come from, or what reason they have for what appears to be simply the terrorization of Laelia. Disturbance of the peace that has always prevailed in this world has me quite worried. Ah, I understand. You are the granddaughter from the Allegra family that had become trapped here in Meadows when you traveled away from home on a business errand. A friend of Sam's told us about how you have been missing from the village for so long. Everyone in Iski seems to be really worried about you, Miss Tasera. I hope you are able to return to them soon. Oh dear! My home village is where you all have just come from, sir? I heard from the animals of the forest the elves used as messengers that something terrible had happened there the other morning. Please tell me, are grandfather and my little brother okay? Yes, they're both okay. There is no need to worry. We managed to drive off the demon that had been terrorizing your people. Not quite. The demon that terrorized your people had actually been wandered off somewhere else, and then we had to deal with a different demon, who actually I'm pretty sure was after us rather than the village. But sure, go ahead and take credits. Gotta impress a lady. A few elves lost their lives, though, reportedly, so we give you our sincere sympathy on behalf of those among your people you have lost, Tasera. It's all right. I'm just glad that at least my family is not lost to me. I can rest more easily with my being this far away from them now. Thank you for helping protect my people, sirs. You all have my sincerest gratitude for what you've done. That's a relief. But it is now apparent why Miss Tasera and I have come to rely on each other in these last few months. I was able to act as a source of support for her when such grievous news had reached the meadows. It was easier for the both of us to make do while our businesses kept us here by forming a partnership and... Tasera says teasingly, and Mr. Beardless was not quite able to feel at home among the elves without my acting as the mediator either. Is that not right? Someday, your people will be teaching dwarves to live in the treetops, Miss Tasera. Oh, well, apparently Stripeback was right. Ahem. Back to the matter at hand? Oh, right. About 40 miles directly south of here is a small settlement near the shoreline. You will find an old friend of mine and the rest of the surviving members of the descendants of Leviathan currently rebuilding their fleet somewhere around there. I'm willing to bet that Admiral William will still have a ship or two available for you to get across the mid-ocean to Sibylline Reef. William, huh? And Dusk's first name is William. Well, that answers my question. In anything, I'll guess that he will be happy to take you across the ocean, simply in hopes that those demi-humans will try to finish off the remainder of his fleet, thus affording him the chance to avenge what they did to him and his friends some time ago. Who are the descendants of Leviathan? They are the seafaring branch of the Naraka Holy Army. Naraka is located in the northeast corner of Sibylline Reef, and remains the largest city in all of Elvenia. This world has never seen or heard of war or violent conflict before, since the beginning of time, as far as anyone knows, and peace has always reigned among Elvenians of differing races, even between dwarves and elves. Any act of hatred or violence ever being committed by one Elvenian upon another was an unspeakable possibility, so there was never really a need for any kingdom in Elvenia to establish any sort of military force. That is, until animals and demi-humans in some lands began to become possessed by some dark force that caused them to turn crazed or violent, and innocent travelers would turn up missing on the roads so frequently these last few months that many are afraid to wander too far beyond the boundaries of their villages. And then I heard of the tragedy that befell my friend, the good Admiral, and his crew recently, when most of the Leviathan fleet was sent to the bottom of the mid-ocean in an attack waged by a small army of aquatic demi-humans that William said was led by a dryad woman and her shape-shifting elven servant. It gives me a most unpleasant shudder to think that such a brutal act of hatred could ever occur. I feel so sorry for Sir Admiral William, his having lost nearly all of his friends in the chaos of such senseless violence. Please be careful as you journey across the mid-ocean, everyone, for I would not wish the same tragic fate to befall you also. Indeed, may you be Godspeed in the noble purpose you endeavor to fulfill for the sake of our darkening world, my friends. Really, you have our thanks for all of your help, Beardless, Tasera. I promise that we'll watch out for William and the others who have survived this tragedy that they have had the grave misfortune to bear. Not one more in the Leviathan fleet will fall prey to those demons as long as we three will be there to protect them, I assure you. Please don't worry about this anymore. So what else you guys have to say? I was just wondering, Beardless, you are much taller in height than what I've always heard about most dwarves. Why is that? I hear that question more often than any other. Fate must have foreseen that I would be spending much of these past few years here in Lelia, and not around those of my own kind. And so she created me not to be so short in stature as most dwarven folk. After all, it would have become tiresome rather quickly if I did not possess the means to look into Miss Tasera's and her kin's faces without having to crane my neck and raise my eyes heavenward at every conversation I would hold with them, right? Right. I can definitely understand that, though there is a certain appeal to being short. Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. Come to think of it, Beardless doesn't even possess a beard. Well, there's another of my questions answered.